Stories tonight in Y News. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. says the country can now refocus priorities on the development of the economy after the World Health Organization lifted COVID-19 as a global health emergency. The Philippine National Police vows to intensify operations against private armed groups ahead of the 2023 Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections. The Department of Information and Communications Technology hopes Congress will grant them intelligence and confidential funds amid the threats in the cyberspace. And Ukraine denies Russia's claim of victory after an 8-month-long intensive battle in Bakhmut city. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Monday, the 22nd of May, 2023. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am William Thea. First in the news. After the World Health Organization lifted COVID-19 as a global health emergency, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. says the country can now refocus priorities on the development of the economy. Gladys Tawabi will tell us why.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is confident that the country's economy will develop after the World Health Organization, or WHO, lifted COVID-19 as a global health emergency.
With this development, we can now refocus our priorities on the development of our economy and the betterment of the lives of ordinary Filipinos.
The chief executive said the country can now focus on programs and projects that will create quality jobs and income while not setting aside the universal health protocols and lessons learned during the pandemic.
When I met with the Board of Governors of ADB last September, just 3 months since my assumption of office, I highlighted the need for our country to safely navigate through the waters of the post-pandemic world, and in that way firmly anchor our economy not just on the new normal but on the better normal. The pandemic did not blur our national vision that was already very clear to us even before it supervened.
During a gathering with the Asian Development Bank, or ADB, the president highlighted the goals to achieve, including sustainability, climate resilience, responsiveness, and inclusivity. He also shared the Philippine Development Plan for 2023 to 2028, which focuses on reviving the economy after the effects of COVID-19. The transformative agenda emphasizes public-private partnership and international collaboration to create quality jobs and competitive products, aiming to improve the lives of every individual and Filipino families.
We will ensure that the plans and projects are stringently and timely executed. We will also ensure judicious utilization of the loans and other technical assistances that are provided to the country.
Meanwhile, the president expressed his gratitude to ADB for its assistance to the country, particularly during the time of the pandemic. Gladys Tawabi, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Philippine National Police, or PNP, will hunt down private armed groups that may be used during the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections on October 30. PNP Public Information Office Chief Police Brigadier General Red Maranan stated that some unscrupulous politicians enlist the services of private armed groups to harass their political rivals and supporters. Leah Ilagan will tell us why.
Philippine National Police Chief Police General Benjamin Acorda Jr. has ordered all police offices nationwide to intensify operations against the 48 private armed groups and loose firearms ahead of Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections. PNP Public Information Office Chief Police Brigadier General Red Maranan said the PNP is continuously monitoring the activities of 3 active PAGs and 45 potential PAGs that may mobilize during the October elections. Some of them are in the areas of Region 3, Region 5, Region 6, Region 13, Cordillera, and the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region.
Ito ay isang malaking threat sa paparating na barangay at yung SK election natin. So dahil dyan, nagbigay na po ng direktiba ang ating Chief PNP sa ating mga regional director sa mga national operational support units na mas paigtingin pa yung kampanya natin laban dito sa mga threat groups na ito.
Maranan said that some unscrupulous politicians enlist the service of PAGs to threaten their political rivals and their supporters.
Based doon sa historical data natin, yung mga candidates natin sa mga eleksyon ay nasa subject sa mga harassment, ganun din yung kanilang mga supporters. So yun ang gusto nating maiwasan dito sa darating na barangay and SK election.
Maranan added that General Acorda wants to focus police operations against the PAGs to ensure safe and peaceful elections.
Gusto natin dyan ay magkaroon ng tinatawag natin na intelligence-driven law enforcement operation. So kung sa pagtaya ng ating mga ground commander ay kailangan magkaroon ng mga search warrant operations para makuha natin yung mga illegal na armas sa kanilang pag-iingat. Kung sila naman ay may mga pending warrants of arrest, yung mga members ng PAGs na yan, ay huhulihin natin yan.
General Maranan also mentioned that based on their records, these PAGs are involved in murder and harassment cases during elections. Leia Ilagan, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, has decided to start accepting applications early for gun ban exemption in the 2023 Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections. Dante Amento tells us why.
Commission on Elections, or COMELEC Commissioner Amy Ferolino, chairperson of the Committee on the Ban on Firearms and Security Concerns, or CBFSC, said the start for the application of election gun ban exemption will be on June 5. This is 4 months before the October 30, 2023 Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections, or BSKE. Ferolino explained this is part of the early security preparations for the local polls.
This will ensure that only the right people will have the authority to carry firearms. Kasi pag medyo matagal tayong nagbukas at yung mga karapat-dapat magdala ng firearms in order to protect themselves or in order to protect the property that they are in charge of keeping safe, ay hindi natin mabigyan ng exemption or certificate of authority sa tamang oras, ay baka makaka-apekto ito sa discharge ng kanilang functions.
Application form is available at COMELEC official website at www.comelec.gov.ph. Meanwhile, the Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, and the Philippine National Police, or PNP, assure full support to the Commission for the safe conduct of the BSKE.
Marami po tayong loose firearms na kailangan pa po rin natin ulit na paigtingin ng ating checkpoint operations para ma-prevent, ma-preempt yung mga utak nitong mga would-be criminals na makapag-disrupt ng election na ito.
Actually, kung walang baril na gumagalaw, palagay ko at only those authorized to possess firearms, mas maganda po ito para sa atin. After all, we have government security forces that are supposed to maintain peace and order in our area.
August 28 until November 29, 2023 will be the election period. Carrying of unauthorized firearms will be strictly prohibited. Dante Amento, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Meanwhile, Judiel alias Osmundo Rivero, one of the suspects in the Degamo Slay case, retracted his previous statement given to the National Bureau of Investigation, or NBI. Based on his counter affidavit, he was supposed to report his missing motorcycle to the PNP last March 5, 2023, but he was allegedly apprehended by the police and subjected to investigation. He was tortured and forced to admit that suspended Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnolfo Teves Jr. ordered the killing of Governor Roel Degamo.
Bali, nire-recount na po ni Mr. Osmundo Rivero ang lahat ng kanyang mga sinalaysay na siya ay kasama sa isa sa mga suspect sa pagpatay at isa rin sa mga nagplano at isa sa mga kasama ng tatlo pa naming kliyente.
The Justice Department, meanwhile, recently said the retraction of the statements by some of the suspects will not affect the case. Land Transportation Office Chief Assistant Secretary J.R. Tugade resigns from his post. J.P. Nunez will tell us why.
Effective June 1, 2023, Land Transportation Office or LTO Chief Assistant Secretary J.R. Tugade will step down from his post. The LTO Chief emphasized in the resignation letter filed in Malacanang that his decision is irrevocable. The statement from the official states that even though the Department of Transportation and LTO both aim to succeed in serving the public, their methods to achieve success are different. Through his resignation, Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista will have a free hand to choose who he can work best with. Another reason he mentioned in the resignation paper is that despite the achievements of LTO in crafting different policies for the benefits of the people, it was overshadowed by the issue of plastic card shortage for the issuance of driver's licenses. Last month, LTO resorted to issuing driver's licenses on papers due to the plastic card shortage. The competitive bidding for the procurement of plastic cards has been moved to May 24 from its original schedule of April 24. ASEC Tugade said DOTR promised to finish the procurement process until June 26, 2023. Aside from the issue of plastic card shortage, LTO is also facing a shortage of license plates for vehicles and motorcycles. Meanwhile, Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista extends his appreciation to ASEC Tugade, who served the LTO for more than 6 months from November 17, 2022. Secretary Bautista stated that Tugade's pursuit of service innovations at LTO was beneficial to the public. DOTR will submit a recommendation to the Office of the President on who will be the next LTO chief. But right now, DOTR has yet to name any possible successor. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
For those watching our live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook. Amid threats in the cyberspace, the Department of Information and Communications Technology, or DICT, hopes Congress will grant them intelligence and confidential funds. Harleen Delgado will tell us why.
In a bid to boost the country's cybersecurity, the Department of Information and Communications Technology, or DICT, wants to conduct technical audit on all information and communications, or ICT, resources being purchased by the government overseas. This, as Senator Raffy Tulfo questioned in today's Senate hearing the potential cyber attack in the country through foreign equipment.
Halimbawa, not necessarily China, yung isang bansa na pagbibilihan po natin ng hardware. So, pwede po nilang lagyan na ng virus yung hardware na yon. With a push button, kaya nang paandarin yung virus at gagawin na yung trabaho na yun. Kaya it's really, really very dangerous. Yung NGCP natin, yung may equipment doon, halos lahat, made in China. and in Chinese character.
The DICT says there are no current regulations in place to conduct technical assessment on government-procured ICT equipment. The agency recommends to senators to look into requiring ICT resources to pass through DICT.
Part of our wish list po sana dun sa e-government law po natin is the codification of the MITI protocol, so that before any government agency, whether LGU or national government po, would have to go through yung inspection and auditing of the ICT, either for their hardware or software requirements po.
Baka you can work it out with ARTA kasi we want to prevent red tape, but you also want security. So ayaw mo naman na may security ka, pero isang taon bago mo ma-install lahat yan.
The DICT also wants to have intelligence funds for cybersecurity purposes and confidential funds for information gathering. Currently, the agency says they have zero allotment for such funds.
Nakakalungkot isipin na may mga agency, ahensya, departamento sa ating pamahalaan na wantosawa sa Intel budget, whereas ito isang agency na kailangan importante pag sa ating cybersecurity, sa ating national security, zero budget sa intelligence.
We have no visibility right now on, for example, yung connectivity ho natin, yun, accurate connectivity ho natin. The proposals for data centers, for data storage, for independent common towers, which is now the policy of government, hindi ho siya kaprichuhan ho siguro para sa DICT na magkaroon ho kami ng confidential at intel funds. So,
the DICT bats for the proposed e-governance law as they note the challenges that the integration of data centers of government agencies pose, both in cybersecurity and delivery of service to the public. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Scientists have issued a warning about the health hazards of microplastics. A study conducted in the atmosphere of Metro Manila has discovered the presence of these particles. Ray Pedayo will tell us why.
Microplastics have been found in the air of Metro Manila. This was the result of the study conducted by Rodolfo Romarate II, a student of environmental scientist Dr. Hernando Bacosa of the Mindanao State University, Ilagan Institute of Technology last December 2021.
So, ang microplastics po are actually yung durug-durug po to na microplastics. Galing po sa mga malalaki because of environmental factors like ang init, tapos na-aapakan ito. Then again, nadudurog po ito.
Microplastics are particles smaller than 5 mm and can be observed using a microscope. Romarate used an instrument to capture air particles in 17 cities and municipalities of Metro Manila over a period of 12 hours.
Ang ginawa po namin, meron pong tinatawag na respirable dust sampler. And itong respirable dust sampler, pinatakbo po ito. Para siyang vacuum po na sinasuction niya yung hangin. And may filter po siya para lahat ng mga masasuction niya ma-filter po dun sa filter paper.
Dr. Bacosa highlighted the potential health effects of inhaling microplastics. These particles may enter the lungs, liver, and kidneys when inhaled by humans.
Maraming mga long-term effects ito. So pwedeng it could lead to mutation, it could lead to cancer. Ang iba po yung parang allergic reaction, nangyayari po yan.
To prevent the inhalation of microplastics, Dr. Bacosa suggested using cotton face masks. Additionally, addressing the use of disposal of plastic is crucial.
Ang degree ng plastic pollution problem is as big as the global warming problem.
The Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, is currently collaborating with Dr. Bacosa's team to further explore the issue of microplastics. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Meanwhile, some groups of private schools have reiterated their stance against the No Permit, No Exam Prohibition Act proposed by lawmakers, stating that it may force private schools to close or cease their operations. Janice Inhente will tell us why.
The Federation Association of Private School Administrator of FAPSA emphasizes that private schools rely solely on tuition fees collected from students to cover their operating expenses. FAPSA President Eleazar Casilag states that if the bill prohibiting private schools from denying students exams due to unpaid tuition fees is passed by lawmakers and President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., this would deplete the remaining funds of private schools and potentially force them to cease operations.
Pag ginawa mo yung batas, lahat sila hindi magsisipagbayad. Maski yung kaya magbayad, affected na sila. Ay bakit? Pwede pala pa-approve tayo ng gobyerno. O sino pang mabayad? Paano yung pabayad natin sa teachers? Paano yung pabayad ng utility bills? Hindi pwede naghihintay yun. Pwede ba sabihin mo sa PLDT o sa Meralco na wag muna, graduation na sila magbayad dahil doon magbabayad ang parents namin?
Private schools called on lawmakers to allow them to implement interventions and policies that would be fair to both the schools and the students.
We just have to be realistic. Ito ang panahon na hindi lang yung maliliit na school ang kamaris kami. Pati yung mga big schools, talagang affected rito. So pag ito tinuloy-tuloy nila, it's a matter, probably baka next school year, magkakaroon na ng problema ang Pilipinas sa edukasyon. May intervention naman kami dyan kasi mga parents naman, binibigyan namin ng promissory note, no? Inaalaw natin yan. Naniniwala naman kami na pagka talagang bata mahirap, may mga scholars kami.
We as private school allow us to decide saan kami kukuha ng aming expenses para makaikot ang aming paaralan. Paano namin babayaran ng aming guro? Paano namin babayaran ng aming mga utilities? Paano namin i-maintain ang school kung hindi kami makakakolekta?
Meanwhile, an education expert suggests that the closure of private schools due to the prohibition of this policy may result in students transferring to public schools, which could impact the education system in the country.
Kailangan pagandahin natin ang kalidad ng edukasyon. At yun nga, maapektuhan ang kalidad ng edukasyon pag overpopulated ang public schools. Na ngayon ay overpopulated, meaning kailangan nating dagdagan ang mga classrooms natin at ang ating mga teachers.
According to education expert Dr. Liza Marie Olegario, the government should strengthen its programs and partnerships with private schools to support students.
Kailangan mag-isip sila ng paraan para mas mapagaan ang pagbayad ng mga pamilya. No? So halimbawa, huwag naman itoon sa exam, pero parang inaisip kasi nila yun ang pinakapang-ipit, di ba, sa mga estudyante. Pwede, bigyan ito ng mga warnings ng mga estudyante at yun nga, bibigyan ng interest. Huwag lang sa panahon ng exam.
UNTV News tried to get DepEd's statement on the issue, but so far the department has no answer yet. Janice Enhente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And for news abroad, parts of the United States have been experiencing poor air quality over the weekend due to wildfires raging all the way from Canada. Mavian Dog explains why live. Yes, Maeve, good evening.
Good evening, Marielle. Poor air quality has emerged over the weekend in the central United States as an effect of the smoke produced by wildfires from Western Canada. This year's Canadian wildfires have been burning bigger and hotter, producing more smoke that travels further into the atmosphere. As smoke rises higher, it can spread for hundreds or thousands of miles, causing poor air quality in cities far beyond Canada. In this case, Marielle, the smoke has reached as far as Missouri and New York in the U.S. Several weather services in the U.S. have announced air quality alerts since last Friday. Meanwhile, studies suggest that exposure to wildfires, even for those living far from the origin, can affect people's health. This is due to the fine and dangerous pollutant matter called PM2.5 carried by wildfire smoke, which can travel deep into lung tissues and enter the bloodstream when inhaled. A 2021 study by Colorado State University's epidemiologists found that long-term exposure to wildfire smoke is roughly associated with 6,300 deaths per year and is linked to asthma, heart diseases, chronic bronchitis, and other respiratory illnesses. Marielle?
Maeve, are wildfires typical at this time of the year in Canada, and how long will it be until the fires disappear?
Mariel, wildfires in Canada are typical in the month of May. Since the first local state of emergency was issued back on May 4 in Alberta, Canada, officials have reported that the wildfires have burned over 782,000 hectares of land. Additionally, there are 93 active wildfires in Alberta as of late last week. Mariel, experts also warned that there are no signs of slowing down, and they are struggling to predict when the fires could end, as the weather models do not show any upcoming rain. Back to you, Mariel.
Thank you, Maeve and Dog, for that live report. SpaceX launches Saudi astronauts, including first Arab woman, to space towards the International Space Station. Marvi Delfin will give us the details live. Good evening, Marvi.
Good evening, Mariel. Despite the challenging weather conditions, Saudi Arabia's first astronauts in decades took off on board a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida at 1:37 a.m. earlier today, Philippine time. Houston-based company Axiom Space put together the journey, and this marks the second all-private mission to the International Space Station, or ISS. With the Saudi Arabian government sponsorship, stem cell and breast cancer researcher Rayana Barnawi became the first woman from the kingdom to voyage to space. Barnawi said before the flight that this is a dream come true for everyone. Barnawi is accompanied by Ali Al-Karni, a Royal Saudi Air Force fighter pilot, and John Schaffner, a businessman from Tennessee. While the chartered multi-million-dollar flight will be led by former NASA astronaut Peggy Whitson, infamous for being the station's first female commander who holds the U.S. record for most accumulated time in space, 665 days and counting. The four are expected to dock their capsule with the orbiting laboratory tonight, May 22, 9:24 p.m. Philippine time, and will be greeted at the ISS by an astronaut also from the United Arab Emirates. Axiom has not disclosed how much Saudi Arabia and Schaffner paid for the planned 10-day mission, but it previously cited a ticket price of $55 million each. After decades of rejecting space tourism, which the Russian space agency has been doing intermittently, NASA has now proceeded with 2 private missions booked a year. Back to you, Mariel.
All right, thank you, Marvi Delfin, for that live report. Cholera continues to spread in South Africa, with 19 new cases recorded on Sunday, along with 10 deaths, according to a local health department in Gauteng, South Africa. The virus made its way to South Africa from Malawi, plaguing the nation by spreading through contaminated food or water and leading to South Africa's first recorded death in 2023, which occurred in February. Cholera is caused by the Vibrio cholerae bacteria, which infects the intestine, leading to symptoms of acute diarrhea, vomiting, and bodily weakness. Death occurs when the virus is left untreated. Across the country, the total number of cases remains unknown. However, the province of Gauteng, which consists of Johannesburg and Pretoria, has the most cases. Russian mercenaries group celebrates victory, reporting Bakhmut city is now under Russian control after an intense months-long battle. But Ukraine denies their claims. Ruth Bahe will tell us why live. Yes, Ruth, go ahead.
Yes, Mariel. Russia's Wagner group of mercenaries announced victory in the East Ukrainian town of Bakhmut on Saturday, May 20, after an 8-month-long intensive battle. In a voice memo, Russian businessman and Wagner head Yevgeny Prigozhin claimed on Telegram that there are no Ukrainian soldiers present in the village of Bakhmut, as they have ceased taking prisoners. Russian President Vladimir Putin congratulated the Russian army and Wagner mercenary group through a statement on the Kremlin's official press service. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky denies the claims during a conference at the G7 summit in Hiroshima, Japan, stating that Bakhmut is not occupied by Russia as of today.
They destroyed everything. There are no buildings. It's a pity, it's tragedy, but for today, Bakhmut is only in our hearts. There is nothing on this place. So, just ground and a lot of dead Russians.
Mariel, some Ukrainian officials reported progress in the battle for Bakhmut, noting opportunities in defeating Russians and approaching a tactical encirclement of the city. Meanwhile, Zelensky achieved diplomatic success after attending the G7 summit by stressing the significance of global unity in safeguarding Ukraine, which was the main focus of the nations involved, including Russia. He also obtained a U.S. pledge to support a training program for Ukrainian pilots to fly F-16 fighter jets, as well as guarantees of more weapons and ammunition. Back to you, Mariel.
Thank you, Ruth Bahe, reporting live. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Maria Latoza, reporting live from Perth, Australia. Good evening.
The Bureau of Fire Protection estimated the damage caused by the fire at the Central Post Office in Manila to be around 300 million pesos. At 11:41 last night, a fire broke out in the historical building in Manila. According to Mark Laurente, Chief of Staff of the Postmaster General, the fire started in the basement where the maintenance and storage rooms are located. Due to the storage of paper and wood materials, the fire spread rapidly. In an interview, Postmaster General Luis Carlos confirmed that the entire building was consumed by the said fire. He mentioned that some expensive paintings and commemorative stamps were also destroyed. Even some parcels and national identity cards of certain citizens of the National Capital Region were included in the damage. At 7:22 in the morning, the fire was declared under control and 7 people were injured.
Nagsimula kasi ito sa sa basement. Alam natin ang basement, confined space 'yan. So nag-accumulate ang heat na na-control na kanina 'yan. Kaya lang yung puwersa na kumuha mulit ng tubig dahil nga kailangan mag-replenish, mag-refill ng tubig. Yun yung time naman na kumalap siya ng init ulit ng energy. Kaya biglaan din talaga siyang umapoy and kaya kailangan na talaga natin magtawag ng maraming puwersa para maapula yung sunog natin.
The Senate is ready to support the allotment of funds for the restoration of the Manila Central Post Office. In a tweet, Senator Sani Angara, who chairs the Senate Committee on Finance, says Senate President Juan Miguel Mig-Zubiri conveyed that they will work with the Budget Department to find funds to restore the burnt structure. He notes that the building is a national treasure designed by national artist Juan Arellano. In other news, the cargo vessel LCT Poseidon 23 and MV Saint Judiel collided in the Mactan Channel in Barangay Luok, Cebu. A mechanical error of the passenger vessel is one of the possible reasons why the collision occurred, according to the Philippine Coast Guard Central Cebu. Alan Manansala will tell us why.
The initial investigation by the Philippine Coast Guard Central Cebu Station shown that a possible mechanical error may have caused the collision between a past crop and a ro-ro vessel in Barangay Luok, Mandawi City, Cebu yesterday, May 21. According to Coast Guard Commander Mariano, it appears that the passenger vessel MV Saint Judiel experienced a problem that resulted in the accident.
Itong si passenger vessel, iniwasan niya yung tanker, so medyo nagmaniobra siya going left. During that time, ang naging problema kasi nagkaroon siya ng steering casualty. Ibig sabihin, nagkaroon ng problema yung steering niya, so hindi na niya maibalik.
The MV Saint Judiel was carrying 197 passengers from Ormoc City to Cebu. Meanwhile, the LCT Poseidon 23 cargo vessel was carrying 17 rolling cargoes and 20 drivers and porters. Due to the incident, around 35 passengers of the past craft were injured and were immediately sent to the hospital for treatment.
So meron tayong injuries na umabot initially 25 kahapon, tapos ngayon dumagdag na naging 25. Pero 25 to 30, pero dine-verify pa yung 5 o baka mamaya kasi yung another 5 na yun ay parang mga member lang ng families ng mga dinala sa hospital. Pero minor injuries lang naman yung reported.
A video captured by Naveen Barwani recorded the loud impact of the collision when the passenger vessel hit the barge, followed by the screams of the shocked passengers. According to Commander Mariano, they will conduct further investigation to determine the real cause of the accident.
Nagkaroon na pala siya ng problema regarding sa steering niya. So, medyo may nakita sila na nagka-problema na sila, tapos ni-reboot lang yata nila yung sa steering nila, then naging normal naman, tapos nakalayag ulit sila. Then after that, may nagka-experience ulit sila ng pangalawa, then same procedure na reboot nila, naging normal ulit while underway. Tapos yung pangatlo siguro baka yun, dahil mabilis yung pangyayari, is bumangga agad dun sa may LCT.
In response to the incident, Commander Mariano stated that they will also investigate the possibility of human error involving the ship's captain. The LCT involved in the collision is currently stationed at Juan Wharf in Mandawi City for barge assessment. Meanwhile, Supercat, one of the subsidiaries of Chelsea Corporation, the owner of MB St. Judiel, released their official statement regarding the sea accident. They also apologized for the fear and disruption it caused to the passengers and guaranteed that they will conduct a separate investigation to assist the authorities and ensure that this accident will not happen again. Alan Manansala, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Senate has passed on third and final reading a bill seeking to increase the supplies allowance of public school teachers. With 22 affirmative votes, the Senate approved Senate Bill 1964 or the Kabalikat sa Pagturo Act. Under the measure, the grant of teachers' allowance will be raised from the current 5,000 pesos to 7,500 pesos per teacher for school year 2023 to 2024 and 10,000 pesos per teacher for school year 2024 to 2025 and thereafter. The proposed bill also provides that the additional benefits shall not be subject to income tax. Our kasangbahay, as the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity.
Good day. I'm Brother Eli Soriano of the members of the Church of God International. I want to invite you to join us in a minute of prayer every day to pray for humanity and the whole world as we go through these perilous times. While safety measures like washing of hands and strengthening of our immune systems may help us through this horrible predicament, there is still no precaution or cure more powerful than God's mighty intervention. And we need His intervention now more than ever. It doesn't matter what religion you are in or what denomination you belong. This is an invitation for all the people around the world who cares for the future of their family, friends, loved ones, and humanity as a whole. Everybody is welcome to pray with us. For more details, you can check out the description box below. Thank you very much, and I hope to hear from you soon. May God bless you.
And before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God from the book of Proverbs chapter 1, verse 10. It says, "My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not." And those are the reasons behind the news, May 22nd, 2023. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
When I met with the Board of Governors of ADB last September, just 3 months since my assumption of office, I highlighted the need for our country to safely navigate through the waters of the post-pandemic world, and in that way firmly anchor our economy not just on the new normal, but on the better normal. The pandemic did not blur our national vision that was already very clear to us even before it supervened.
Bali, nire-recount na po ni Mr. Rosmundo Rivero ang lahat ng kanyang mga isinalaysay na siya ay kasama sa isa sa mga suspect sa pagpatay at isa rin sa mga nagplano at isa sa mga kasama ng 3 pa naming kliyente.
Halimbawa, not necessarily China, yung isang bansa na pagbibilihan po natin ng hardware, so pwede po nilang lagyan na ng virus yung hardware na yon. With a push button, kaya ng paandarin yung virus at gagawin na yung trabaho na yun. Kaya it's really, really very dangerous. Yung NGCP natin, yung may equipment doon, halos lahat made in China and in Chinese character.
We have no visibility right now on, for example, yung connectivity ho natin yun, accurate connectivity ho natin. The proposals for data centers, for data storage, for independent common towers, which is now the policy of government, hindi ho siya kaprichuhan ho siguro para sa DICT na magkaroon ho kami ng confidential at intel funds. So,
pag ginawa mo yung batas, lahat sila hindi magsisipagbayad. Maski yung kaya magbayad, affected na sila. Ay bakit? Pwede pala pa-approve tayo ng gobyerno. O sino pang mabayad? Paano yung pabayad natin sa teachers? Paano yung pabayad ng utility bills? Hindi pwede naghihintay yun. Pwede ba mo sabihin mo sa PLDT o sa Meralco na wag muna, graduation na sila magbayad dahil doon magbayad ang parents namin?
Kailangan mag-isip sila ng paraan para mas mapagaan ang pagbayad ng mga pamilya. No? So halimbawa, wag naman itoon sa exam, pero parang inaisip kasi nila yun ang pinakapang-ipit, di ba, sa mga estudyante. Pwede, bigyan ito ng mga warnings ng mga estudyante at yun nga, bibigyan ng interest. Huwag lang sa panahon ng exam.